How you doing, guys? Welcome back. It's LSP. Currently the 20th of November 2021. Today I'm going to be discussing CHSB for the Hollywood squad over at Swissborg DAO. I'm also going to be discussing ENJIN as well. So this is a weekly update for CHSB, and I'll add the additional ENJIN as well. Now obviously there's quite a few tokens on the Wealth app. So what will happen is, as we continue to refine this process, I'm going to be going through those tokens, and when I see something of interest, I'll bring you, your awareness to that. But today it's going to be Swissborg and ENJIN. So we've obviously had months of pretty much nothing on CHSB, and this has been quite taxing for a lot of people to sit through. You see that reflected in the community. Sometimes it reflects in frustration. Sometimes it can be a little bit of anger. Sometimes it's impatience. But in the end, things always come right. Swissborg is a great company. They have a phenomenal team. What they're doing, and the features that they are bringing to the market, are game changing. So CHSB will not and cannot remain at these price levels, forever, effectively. But we recently had a really nice pop. I've removed everything off the chart for now, and we're going to kind of do a fresh analysis and see where we can find liquidity pools of interest. But we recently had a nice pop, through the 80s, and then we've been kind of slowly stabilizing in this area. The key level going forward is obviously going to be $1. I did mention this in previous videos, and obviously I talk in the Wealth and Trading channel over at the Swissborg Discord channel. But $1 is key level. It's really, really important that Swissborg or CHSB gets to $1 and stabilizes above that level, and then we can start to challenge some of these higher levels. So although it may seem obvious that that would be the case, price gets to $1 and then it can start going higher. We're talking about order flows. We're talking about the accumulation distribution phase on CHSB. So getting to $1 isn't enough. It has to get to $1 and stabilize, hold, and show an indication that the accumulation that it's doing through all of this, that it did through all of this, is indeed enough to start to offload some a dollar and higher. Yeah. If we don't see those flows when price gets to $1, then we can ascertain which pools lower could potentially be dipped into. So if we go down to the 4-hour chart, just to get a feel for what just happened recently. So you can see the pop just there. And again, guys, look, I try my best to put all of this stuff on the chart before it actually happens. But you can clearly see, oh, that's changed. Oh, sorry guys, I was messing around with the settings yesterday, and I think I changed the outline. Should be black. There we go. So I try my best to put this stuff on the chart before it actually happens, to make people aware of these liquidity pools, and also for my own I don't want to say protection, so to speak, but to just solidify my content, and the way that I approach reading charts. You see the breakout just here. Price goes up, and then it starts to get a little bit messy. It tries to break out a second time, takes out the previous high, and then it starts to dip. And look at the acceleration, and it comes all the way down to where? Literally right in the middle of a liquidity pool, grabs more buy-side liquidity, and then starts to run to the upside to once again take out the previous high. Since then, though, price came down and it started to stabilize, and it runs up a fourth time to take out the previous high, and then we're starting to pull in a little bit. Okay, so whatever was picked up here was enough to push price higher twice, yeah, to create two fresh highs. Yeah, so this was created, fresh high from the previous one, and then this was created, another fresh high from the previous one. This all bodes very, very well, because what price is showing us is that whatever it's picking up below is enough to sustain this continued hold around the 70 to 80 level. Now previously we stayed within a very tight range of around about 60 to 65, possibly slightly lower, and we stayed there for ages, man, for months, right? So now that we've created this new range, yeah, if we hold within the 70 to 80 range for quite some time, I prefer it just goes, obviously, but if it maintains within this range for quite some time, then all it's doing is creating another situation where if price needs to accumulate lower, it will do it very, very quickly, like it did here. So it will drop. So let's say it stays here for some time and then it will drop. This will be the area that it will probably dip into, you know, and I'll make a note of that as well. So where are we at? It will be here. So if liquidity, if price needs to come down to accumulate buy-side liquidity, this will be the place that it does it. So the longer it holds here, the faster it will be when it dips and moves away from that level. But going forward, I'm not expecting price to maintain these levels for, you know, for an indefinite amount of time, obviously, you know, or even for a prolonged period of time. I do believe that the shift in flow happened quite a while ago. I spoke about this in a smart talk. Probably about 3 or 4 smart talks ago, I was discussing the shift on the 4-hour chart, which was clearly obvious once I'd explained it. And like I said, once that shift happens, I started being a little bit cocky, so I apologize about that. But I was putting little notes on Twitter and saying, you know, keep an eye on Swissborg and all this sort of stuff. So that's just me being silly. But the reality is, once price has shifted flow like that, after such a prolonged accumulation for months and months and months, it's almost impossible for a price not to break out, you know. So going forward, you know, I'm loving the reaction. I like the response that CHSB has done so far. I am expecting higher prices going into Christmas. I think we're going to see, you know, a little bit more volatility as volumes start to recede a little bit, but everything's looking great for Swissborg at the moment, and obviously the magic number has not changed. It is still 197. So let's go over to ENJIN and just have a look, see what we can find on one of our favorite tokens, to be honest. So we'll have to go to the weekly just to make a reference to the all-time high. Now again, I was talking about this with a friend, and I was saying, somebody asked me about this yesterday as well, where's it going? All-time high. There's absolutely no question about it, you know, not financial advice obviously, but I'm just saying, you know, ENJIN's going straight for all-time high. Once it gets there, because of the aggressive response, you know, as it dipped here, you know, this is a weekly chart obviously, so we'll drop down, but as price dropped down here and then it started to run to the upside, there was a moment yesterday when all of this wasn't here and it was just literally the tail and a very small body. At that moment, we're talking about a complete reversal of the previous drop. So when that happened, you know, I got on my phone and I was, you know, doing some text and letting everybody know, you know, ENJIN, keep an eye on it, so on. And we've obviously had a very, very nice move to the upside, and I do believe very firmly and have absolute confidence that this is going for all-time high. Once it gets there, because of the nature of this previous move, you know, we'll probably slow down and dip straight back below that previous high that was created. So right now it's around about $3.99. We're just going to call it 4. Okay, so $4. It will go through $4, and then I'm expecting a move back down. So it will create a new all-time high, you know, whatever that will be. And then I'm expecting it to, like I said, just ease back into, you know, and below these all-time highs. And then after that, we can reassess and see what happens. If we just drop down to the daily chart just to get a feel for how ENJIN has been moving around. So as you can see, this is the all-time high, you know, and we had a really nice move to the upside. And then instead of dipping down and coming back down to the point, you know, where, you know, price broke out, it didn't do that. Stabilized up here. Yes, it has gotten a little bit messy, but in the process, you see the initial dip here. It comes down, grabs liquidity, comes up, dips again, takes out the previous low, reverses, you know, and then stabilizes just here. You get that last final pop just there on that tail. Yeah, so last final pop to the downside, okay, as it snaps down, reverses, and then we get this beautiful 2-day lift. And again, I am expecting all-time highs to be traded to, then a little bit of a bleed back into and below. Yeah, so with all of that said, I hope everyone's having a fantastic weekend. I hope you're enjoying the content, you know, that we are creating for the Hollywood squad over at the Swissborg DAO. And I look forward to continuing this, and I look forward to refining the process so we can give a much better, analysis and much better videos, much better content, you know, for the community as a whole. And that's always going to be our goal, you know, at the DAO, to make sure that we are constantly refining our approach to make sure the community is being tailored, the community is being taken care of in the best way that we know that we can. So I hope everyone's having a great weekend, and I look forward to speaking to you guys very, very soon. All the best and take care.